What's going on, y'all? It's Kilo, and we are back for another episode of the regular podcast on the regular network.
It's real.
Yeah. What's up with y'all, man? What was going on? Thank you for coming back. You know, I always appreciate seeing y'all faces, things like that. Hopefully, y'all appreciate seeing mine, hearing my voice, all the things like that. Before we do anything else, make sure you like this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, make sure you hit the notification bell, make sure you share this video, make sure you comment your thoughts below as you have these thoughts as you watch. Okay, that was kind of like preachery of me right there. I was like reading the church announcements. But how are y'all doing? How was your week? My week was okay. Right now for me it's late. It's like almost 11 o'clock on a Friday night, and I'm just starting to record right now. So it's pretty late for me. But, work has to be done, so we're going to make sure we get it done. I'm going to just give you a good preamble, real little interlude, not an interlude, whatever it's called, where you start out something, like a warning. We for sure, we're going to get into the YSL trial, for sure going to get into this Fani Willis disqualification hearing, and then we're going to get into a couple other topics. But first, I want to say something because as y'all know, I told y'all that I was getting into podcast production, executive producing other shows. And really right now, I'm only focused on one other show besides this one and my DIY channel. And that's Birds and the Bees podcast, right? With Kyle Bees out in LA. And I want that's really one that I'm needing to showcase right now, because this is my proof of concept. Really, I push him far, and then that lets other people know I'm really a super producer in this podcast thing. My podcast is the size that it is, even with the great content and great substance that you get from here. It's not as big as it should be, because when I started it, I was never really consistent. And that's an issue when you are doing shows and podcasts. You need to consistently give your watchers and your viewers content. You can't just take 8-month breaks, 1 year breaks, 6-month breaks. You can't do that. People have routines when it comes to podcasts. They want to hear it every week at the same time, or they want it to be available every week when they go to listen. So if you break that routine for them in a week, it's very easy for them to never come back to your show ever again. Excuse me. And for the last 7 years, almost 8 years, I've for sure been breaking that routine for the people who have been trying to help me out and grow the platform. So right now, this is the most consistent that I've been with it, and we're seeing a little bit of motion with it. Small amount. We're still looking for more. But with that being said, though, I prefer the production thing. So we pushing Kyle Bees, the Birds and the Bees podcast, and he's already making some good impact. So right now, what I'm really trying to do is get more eyeballs over to his show that are not in the Fig Community World umbrella fan base. Right now, that fan base is big, but I want to get new eyeballs on him so that he can expand outside of that world. Right now, they're trying to make him like a villain in that world. And that's good for him to, he can easily make content based off of stuff that they say to him. But I'm really, I'm trying to strategize right now to get new eyeballs on him. But I think for us to just have started doing this like within the last 6 weeks, or not even 6 weeks, 1 month, he's definitely making some good strides right now. So shout out to Kyle Bees, Birds and the Bees podcast. And, like I said, he's already making moves to go be on the No Jumper platform. Not saying that I agree with everything they have going on, but that is a humongous platform, though, in the space that we occupy, this podcast space. So for him to be, 4 weeks out and they already reaching out to him, following him, wanting to see him up on that show, on that platform, that's pretty big. And the regular network was part of producing what's going on with that. So shout out to him. Also, like I said, with growth, we got a promo code for y'all to do some shopping. I get a lot of compliments on this hat, like I told y'all before. And this is from my man over at Triple M World. So if you use the code TheRegulars24, you get a 15% off everything on the site. So that's pretty big. You know what I'm saying? It's not just this, and this is valid until the end of 2024. So you can use this all the way going up into the new year. That's the regulars 2024. Get 15% off triplem.world, and show some love to the good people over there. Like I said, I've actually worn a lot of the stuff on here. I probably just didn't announce that I was wearing it, but this hat is definitely from there. These are for sure sold out, but they have a lot of other fly stuff on there, so y'all go check them out. And let's get right into the topic, man. The YSL trial. This is another week down, and another week of them discussing this infamous event on September 11th, 2013. Infamous event. Excuse me. If y'all see, this is smart water. If you see it's black label, what I mean is alkaline smart water. We're dealing with a 9.5 pH on that. This one will send you to the bathroom for sure, multiple times. All type of urea going through you. All right, so they're still talking about this shooting. They started out the week with the cross-examination of Detective Velasquez, or former Detective Velasquez, Keith Adams. So now, of course, I've been bigging up Keith Adams all this whole trial, like he's the cross-examining guru and all that good stuff for witnesses. And Velasquez was up on him, and Attorney Love was up on him. They did not give him a chance to really do much. Attorney Love, the prosecutor, was objecting to pretty much everything Keith Adams was trying to do. Velasquez was like guarded the entire time. He was making sure to not really answer any questions. He was dancing around. You could tell he was specifically guarded with Keith Adams, because when the next attorney came up to question him, he was answering questions as normal, and there were a lot less objections from Attorney Love. So Velasquez and Attorney Love clearly had to strategize for Keith Adams to kind of neutralize what he's best at, which is cross-examining witnesses and stuff like that. But even then, he still got his questions off at pretty much about, and Keith Adams, like throughout his whole cross-examination spiel, he kept chuckling, because he's like, they're not really, he could tell that they weren't letting him get anything. The judge is sustaining a bunch of objections that Attorney Love is throwing out there. Another thing I noticed is that, we've been hearing a lot in this case where the judge has been barking on the defense attorney saying, hey, one at a time with these objections, and hey, stop, don't speak your objections. Just give me the objection and say the basis, and then I'll make a determination. I'll make a ruling. But when it comes to the state prosecutors, they have been explaining these objections every single time. They like, objection, Your Honor, he's coaching a witness on whatever. Objection, Your Honor, this. They have been explaining every single objection. And I'm like, once again, there's some clear bias going on right here, because, the Judge Glanville has for sure been barking on the defense. I'm talking about yelling at them about the manner at which they've been objecting and telling them, he's saying the words, don't speak your objection. Pretty much only say the word objection and say the basis, which is the legal term. They all know what that means. Speaking your objection pretty much means don't explain what the person did in detail. You don't do that. He's telling the defense don't do that. He's allowing the state to do it. Okay, so let's move past that. However, Keith Adams did get to the main point of what he needed to get to with Velasquez, which was, do you think it's proper to delete statements from witnesses? And of course, Velasquez, being a former partner of Detective Quinn, which again, shout out to everybody in the comments who let me know Detective Quinn is a for sure hot topic in this whole thing, and a hot topic period in the Atlanta area, because he does this Homicide Atlanta TV show on TV One and all that type of stuff. So Detective Quinn has been exposed as a person who deleted a statement from a witness. It was Eduardo Nava. I hope I don't remember his name improperly, but the Eduardo fella who took the car from the girlfriend's house and brought it down to the Cleveland Avenue area. Detective Quinn took a statement from him and then deleted it and told him, give me another statement. So now the attorneys have been pushing on these other cops to say, hey, is it proper for you to delete statements and all that? And Keith Adams came at Velasquez with that. And Velasquez is like, yeah, that's normal. People do it. If you can tell that the person is lying, yeah, delete it. Just make note. He's saying, like, you can delete it, but when you write the report or when you do your report on it, make sure you notate that this is the final statement, or what he called the official statement. And he was lying to me before, but then he changed his answer, and this is the official statement that he gave me. And Keith Adams pushed back on that whole concept of official statement because he said to him, so you're saying that the statement is not, because he asked him, like, what do you mean by official statement? And Velasquez is like, pretty much when they're not lying. And he's like, but if this person was on the scene and they're a witness to the crime and they're telling you what they seen, how can you tell whether they're lying or not? And then Velasquez is just standing on this point of, well, there's times where you could tell they're clearly lying. He just kept saying it, but he's really not. So pretty much Keith Adams just got out there and said, so it's pretty much true that you don't consider something an official statement until a witness says what you want them to say. And of course, everybody objected to that. And it was, hey, watch it, Keith, or watch it, Mr. Adams, whatever, that type of thing. But that's pretty much what it was. Like, so if you don't like the statement from a witness, you get to just delete it as many times as you want until you get the answer that you want, which of course we know police officers do that because we know that they get confessions out of people who are not actually saying that they did the crime, but the police officer won't let them go until they confess. So, you're pretty stuck because these cops just abuse their power, right? So Keith Adams just struggles through his whole cross-examination. Love and Velasquez are not letting him eat at all, but he still got that piece out. So then they move on, other attorneys cross-examine it. It's light work, but same thing. And I did want to say, because look, what's his name? I like that Diamante Kendricks, his attorney, he keeps on going up there. He keeps going up, and the only thing he's saying to these witnesses, hey, have you ever, who Diamante Kendrick is? And the witness is like, no, I don't know that name at all. Like, who was that? And then the attorney is like, point at him like, hey, do you know who this guy is sitting over here? The witness is like, no, I don't know who that is. So he's pretty much establishing that because he's been trying to get severed from this trial the entire time, but they won't let him because they're like, hey, it's a conspiracy. So all of y'all are wrapped into it. And it's smart on his part because he didn't take that deal. I'm glad that he didn't take the deal. And his lawyer is going to stand on the fact that this man is not involved in none of the stuff that y'all are talking about. So here we go. He's like establishing Diamante Kendrick is not involved in any of the stuff that they keep bringing up. These cops don't know who he is. These witnesses don't know who he is. They never seen him, never heard of him. Why is he a part of this case? So it will be clear to the jury when it's time to come down with these rulings. That person at minimum should be not guilty because all these crimes they went through. So the only thing they're going to show about Diamante Kendricks is that maybe one day at some point in his life, he put YSL on one of his social media posts or something like that, which they haven't showed yet. So I think he's going to be good. I think the jury is going to say that the guy that kept on coming up here saying nobody knew who he was, we're going to let him be not guilty. All right. So shout out to that lawyer doing your job. So Velasquez is, he's done. They get him up out of there. They bring in a Detective Calhoun. Detective Calhoun is an older black man, and he was up there for a short period of time. They pretty much asked him, what was your role in it? His role was minimal. He pretty much was the person who went to the hospital and collected the money from one of the suspects that supposedly that money was stolen from a victim in a robbery. So he pretty much, he collected $970. I'm looking at my notes. He collected $970 from one of the suspects at the hospital, which he was a victim too because he got shot by a police officer. But he got that money from the guy. And on cross-examination, they asked Detective Calhoun, is it proper for you to delete witness testimonies? And he was like, no, that's not proper. We shouldn't do that. So then Keith Adams was like, because that would be considered destroying evidence, right? A witness statement is evidence. He's like, yes, that's evidence. He says, so if you delete it, you're considered destroying evidence. And the Detective Calhoun is like, yeah, that's destroying evidence. Like, you shouldn't do that. He's like, pretty much you should keep every statement that they give, not delete them. No, don't delete and just keep the one that you want. All of them count equally. So keep them all. And he got Detective Calhoun to admit to that. So essentially we see what's going on here is the defense. And this is a major, this one is a major incident because Young Thug was never punished for it. Everybody else that was involved, and I'm saying involved, but they haven't proven Young Thug was involved. But the other people that were caught and involved all got punished. They went to prison for it. Right. Thug is the only one that didn't. So Thug would be the only one who, if they can get some evidence that Thug was involved with that, they can actually get him a sentence for that case right there on top of all his other stuff, because they, that's a new situation. He just never was punished for that wild incident. And we'll get to that. Legendary witness again. Shout out to Trontavia Stevens. He done set the stage. We got another legendary witness alert. Okay. So Calhoun lets it be known, hey, this is improper to delete evidence, right? And when I reach up like this, I'm reaching for my mouse. Matter of fact, let me just put my mouse right here. All right, so then we go forward. We get a fella named Leonard Pass. Now, this one right here, I got on the edge of my seat for Leonard Pass, because now we finally get to the point where we got an actual victim who was a victim of one of the crimes that's pretty much like a serious crime, a major crime, which be a robbery, shooting, right? You got the victim of a major crime, and Young Thug was actually supposedly involved with this major crime. But it's interesting, like I said, once again, you get a witness up here, and they do not ask them to identify Young Thug in court. I just jump forward to the end of his testimony, but I'm saying that it's strange to me, and I don't know what it's about, because normally you want the victim to say, hey, that's the guy, I seen him sitting in the courtroom right there. He was there. I know it because I saw him that day. They don't, I don't know what it is. They only want people that are former co-defendants or crimees or people who was riding in the streets with them to identify him. They don't want any of the victims to identify these people on trial. They haven't asked a single one of them yet, point out the person who did this to you. They haven't done that yet. So, and maybe it's because maybe we haven't gotten to that list of victims yet. I don't know, but I just know that they haven't done it yet. Okay. So they get Leonard Pass in there, and now he's telling the story of, and once again, I'm telling y'all, the state is jumping all over the place with these witnesses. Excuse me. They're jumping all over the place with these witnesses. Now we're back to the beginning of, so now we get to the point where when we get Leonard Pass, now we're at the point of the story where the first thing that these guys do when they take the red car from Eduardo and Brian, skateboard guy, right? So what they do when they take that car from him is go try to rob a guy named Dirty Red, right? So, all right, but this is a very pivotal point in this whole story, because this is what kicks off the entire series of crazy events right here. So Leonard Paz says, hey, me and my friend Dirty Red, we get, we leave for the day because we want to go run some errands. We want to go to the bank, get some money so we could pay our bills. We're going to pay our rent, pay our utilities, because we live together. So we're going to pay our bills together, right? We go to the bank. It's around lunchtime or whatever. And we get the money, and then we come back to the house because we just want to take a break, eat our lunch, whatever. And as soon as we about to get out the car, a guy runs up on us and says, you know what time it is, Dirty, or you know what time it is, Red, or whatever. Let me see if I wrote down exactly the words. Yeah, you know what time it is, Dirty. So he pretty much is saying, like, give up whatever it is you got, right? So I guess the guys didn't want to give up what he had. So it was Leonard Pass and Dirty Red, Mr. Dotson, right? Who has now passed away also. I don't know if he died in this incident because they didn't say that yet. And I didn't look it up. But his name is Dotson. Anyway, he's not here anymore. So the guy, who's trying to rob them, says, pretty much give it up, give me what you got or whatever. And then they move too slow. So then the guy who ran up on them shoots a warning shot. He shoots into the ground, warning shot, right? And then his the homeboy Leonard Pass tells Dirty Red, run. He's like, yo, run. So in the midst of him about to run, Dirty Red takes the money that he has in his pocket out of his pocket and throws it on the ground to pretty much say, like, here, take it. I'm out. Don't shoot me, pretty much. And they take off running. So Dirty Red and Leonard Pass, they run in two different directions. And Pass is saying, like, I couldn't see what was happening. I was just running, but I know that the person was shooting at me. As I was running away, he was shooting at me for sure. So he just gave the directions as to which way he ran and all that type of stuff. They brought pictures up. He showed what gate he ran out of and all that. So he was for sure getting shot at because one of the vehicles at the front that was by the front entrance of the apartment complex the windows was like shot out. or whatever, right? So, and y'all see that if you've been watching the trial, you see that there was a picture of like a silver SUV and the back window was like shot out. And that was them shooting at Leonard Pass. And then he said, like, I don't know what happened to my homeboy. He went a different way. I was just trying to escape. So he made it out. He didn't get shot or whatever. But so again, they jumping around. However, now this is where we go back to like the first testimony with Robeson L. That shoot when whoever that gunman was shooting at Leonard Pass and Dirty Red. That's where Robeson L saw. He saw them doing that. So he saw them doing that. He didn't know who they were shooting at though. He couldn't see that part. He could only see the guy shooting. He saw that. And then that's where it picks up at. He saw them running back to the car, hop in the car, and then the whole series of events happened from there. So Leonard Pass's part in this whole thing is extremely pivotal because that's what kicked off the entire series of events. And not to say he did anything wrong. I'm saying that the story he just gave, because the other victim who was there that day, he's not here anymore to tell the story. But because the man ran up and said, you know what time it is, Dirty, they knew they knew him. These are people, this is all in the Cleveland Avenue area. So I'm sure they all knew each other. Leonard Pass is from somewhere else. He just moved into that area during that time of his life. Dirty Red is actually from there, so they knew him, right? So, you know, that's the major details of that part right there. So I don't need to go too much more into that part. But yeah, Leonard Pass, he gave good details on how some of that went. But I was just surprised they didn't ask him like, hey, you know what I'm saying, who did the person who did it, were they punished for it? You know what I'm saying? Like they didn't ask him, was anybody in this courtroom with that person? They didn't do none of that. So I'm shocked by that. I don't know what that is about. Right. So then we get a Detective Benton comes up. This is a young lady who was part of, I think she was also part of the homicide division. She was a crime scene investigator. She came out there to direct the photographers on which pieces of the crime scene to take pictures of. And she also was there to collect the firearms. So she pretty much didn't add a whole bunch to this whole thing, except for the fact that she went through all the pictures that were taken in her direction and showed where they found firearms in the car. Because there's like this idea also that the people inside the car were also shooting out the car, right? I guess shooting at the police. So that whole thing that's being brought in and being shown like this is why she found these firearms in the car. So, of course, there wasn't much cross-examining that you could do against her. She was there as a fact witness, but she kind of just like there as an expert capacity because she didn't arrest anybody. She didn't interact with the suspects, nothing like that. She didn't see any of the incident. She didn't chase nobody down. She came after it was over to document the scene, what they call memorialize the incident, right? So, that was pretty much her whole thing. And they pretty much try to paint the picture like, hey, there's all type of stuff in this car. Like who's to say that the guys that they arrested are the ones who actually put the guns in the car? There's bait and tackle box in the car, tools in the car, all type of stuff, shirts, old crap in the car. There's all type of stuff in the car that they're trying to paint the picture that these guns could have also been inside the car beforehand. So yeah, that's what happened with Detective Benton. She wasn't there for long. They did their whole thing with her. So then we get into the day. I think it was Thursday, I think. And this is the day that they didn't have any witnesses testify. This was just like what they call an administrative day. So Brian Steele gets up there to once again say, Judge, there's no way you can let this 911 phone call from this unknown person be shown in trial. There's just no way. It's unethical. Like, we're going to appeal this. You're going to look bad if you do it. Like, he pretty much was saying that in so many words. He's like, this court is going to look bad if you let this in there because, like, come on now. So they argued. They went back and forth, case law, all the type of thing they did, what they had to do. They was arguing, going back and forth for a minute. And then the judge gave Attorney Love the opportunity to come speak. And, of course, she went back to the excited utterance and the panicking and all that, because now panicking is the word that Brian Steele used. So now Attorney Love is like to use Brian Steele's word, panicking and all that. So she did what she had to do. They argued, and I'll just fast forward to the point. Judge Glanville said, we can allow this 911 call to be played. However, you have to take out, and this is at Brian Steele's direction. Pretty much Brian Steele is like, if you play this, there's no way you can put the part that says Young Thug, like take his name out of there. And the judge agreed. So I took that as a win for Young Thug, even though the state still got to play this call where it does sound like something is happening, but without the part that says the Young Thug part, I think it was Young Thug, he just shot somebody and he ran over here. Without that part and the jury not hearing that part, well, we're assuming that the jury has not been watching this trial on YouTube. But with the jury not hearing that part, with the jury not hearing that part, it could be anything, really. You never know where their mind could be going. Us as viewers, we know what she said, so our mind is already on one place. But can you imagine if we had heard that 911 call and they had removed the part that said it was Young Thug or somebody? What would we think? We might have thought that it was the victim running away from the situation who ran in her apartment, trying to escape from this whole thing. You never know what we would have thought had we not heard the full call. So I don't know what the jury is going to be thinking when they heard a call like that. But what I do know is it sounds a lot less damaging without Young Thug's name in it. I know that much. Just hearing it, I'm just like, dang, it don't even hit the same. Because the lady on the phone is like, I don't want to say too much because I'm scared. They know my kids. They know this. It sounds completely different if you say, yeah, Young Thug knows my kids and I don't want my kids to get hurt because Thug is around here. That's a whole different ballgame right there, especially in a case like this where they're trying to paint him as like some crime lord, right? So I think that was very interesting. And so the judge allows it. The next day, they bring in a veteran 911 operator or whatever. And she was a 911 operator, but she was coming in there to testify about the CAD report. The CAD report that she was discussing for the jury was the radio traffic between police officers on the morning of that incident or the day of that incident. So pretty much it let it be known. Well, we heard some crazy details in there and some very, very, very important details that's going to make Detective Quinn look crazy. So here we go. All right. And I'm coming up towards the end of this week, right? So the CAD report pretty much gives the whole timeline of when the police first found out about what was going on up until they secured the whole scene, right? So pretty much they're like, hey, somebody's shooting, this person running. Hey, Robinson-L is yelling, hey, just shot somebody, come help. Whatever's, all of that we already know about is on there. But then as the incident progresses, what started to happen was the police started saying, hey, do we have everybody? And everybody, the police who had people start saying, yes, we got them. We got 3 individuals. That's everybody. We got 3 people. That's everybody. They kept saying it. Like, we got all 3 of them. Are we good? And then a little bit later, then they finally come back and say, pretty much somebody's like, did anybody get the woman? Right? So then they start looking like, where's this woman at? Like they said it was a woman. There's some woman that we need to go find. And so they start looking all over the area. They called a helicopter on there. So they start scanning the scene, like looking for a woman or whatever. And that's why Keith Adams was harping on that earlier in the trial, because he was trying to figure out like who's seen a woman. If these people described a woman, then why y'all trying to say it was Young Thug? Right. So they said it was a woman with a wig. They on the radio scanner said they was looking for a woman in a blonde wig. So they started to scan the perimeter, scan the whole area, the Cleveland Avenue area, corridor as they was calling it, looking for a woman with a blonde wig. And one of the police officers, remember I told y'all there was a police officer testified who got emotional when she said she wanted to dress up and all that. She was the one that said it was a woman. So she's like, hey, a woman, she ran and jumped over the fence. I don't even know how she jumped over this fence because it's like a retaining wall and then a fence at the top of the retaining wall. So she's just so baffled that this woman scaled this wall like this whole time. I'm not going to say it, but whole time, so that person got away and was never found. So they never caught that woman that ran away. So now the 911 call just shows all of that. And then it's just, let me see, what else did they do? And they also, So here's the key. Here's the key. My bad. I had to check my notes. This is the key thing that I think is going to throw all this whole thing off. First of all, you got Detective Quinn deleting statements and re-recording them because he didn't like what the person said. You got that. Also, since the beginning of this trial, since the trial started, I'm talking about first witness, and I didn't know why he was doing this. Max Shard has been asking pretty much every police officer that mentioned every police officer, was there a McDonald's over there on this corner on Cleveland Avenue back in 2013? And I didn't know why he was asking. He kept asking that because he kept on asking about surveillance footage. He like, did anybody go over there and get any surveillance footage? Max Shard has been asking this the entire time since the trial started, right? And now we get to the point where we find out why he was asking that. On the radio, so y'all know they don't have any video evidence of the incident that happened on this day, right? Over the radio, the police officers are saying, hey, there's a guy coming in a green Tundra. Let him in. He's the owner of the laundromat. He's going to let us see the video. Think about it. He's going to let us see the video. And then they're like, yeah, his name is Khan. Let him through. So somebody's like, hey, there's a guy here in this kind of truck. Like, is this him? They're like, yeah, let him through. And then they're like, hey, we're going, does anybody know what time the first call came through? Because we're looking at the video. We want to go straight to the part. We want to go to the right part so we can see what happened. So this tells us there was surveillance video. The police were in possession of it. The police looked at the video under the direction of the head detective in this case, which was Detective Quinn. They established that a bunch of times. Detective Quinn had access to a video, and then the video just no longer exists in this case. They did not take that video and put it in the evidence. They have been pushing on this video topic the whole time. You telling me that there was 4 people that jumped out of the car. 3 of them got caught. 2 of them were shot. And the people are trying to say that there was a woman or there was another person who got out of here. Some people are trying to insinuate it was Young Thug. Y'all had the video. Y'all saw exactly what happened. And you decided to not put that video in the evidence as the head detective. If that is not the definition of dirty playing dirty, I don't know what is. So once it's been established now, because I know the jury is thinking about it like, dang, Max Shard has been asking about this video this whole trial. We never knew why he was at, but now we know why. There was video. You hear it over the CAD, over the radio signaling. There, he's like, yeah, we're looking at the video right now. How do you have surveillance video showing the incident and then it just never makes it? And y'all realize they prosecuted 3 of them people. So they prosecuted those 3 people off the word of the cops alone, where there was surveillance video, and the surveillance video never got brought into the case. Just think about that. Detective Quinn was playing dirty, and there was a lot of police officers involved with this because Quinn wasn't the only one seeing that video. Other people seen it. So I'm not saying that these 3 guys who got caught was just completely innocent. I'm just saying that if they just committed crimes that day, then just show what it was. Why are you deleting statements and getting rid of video evidence and all that type? If they really did something wrong, punish them for what they did wrong. But don't lie to make it seem like they did more than they actually did. You see what I'm saying? So I think that was telling. I think when Attorney Quinn gets on the stand, whenever they get him up there, the defense is gonna tear him apart, just because he just has too much dirty on his name. And it's just not going to look good. And now we get to what I call another legendary witness. And this is the one that I was like really on my seat, on the edge of my seat about, because remember 2 weeks ago or whatever, they had played a jail call. And on the jail call, the dude is snitching crazy. He's telling everything. He's like, man, I don't know why DK decided he got to shoot at the police. Man, these young niggas tripping, man. Shooting for no reason, man. We ain't have to do all that. And I should have went with Thug. Thug jumped out the car and went that way. I went this way. I should have went with him. Doing all the telling. That person from that jail call is now on the stand. Friday. It don't matter what day. Adrien Bean, not an attorney. Adrien Bean is now on the stand. And it's lit. Is he about to snitch on Young Thug? Because he is the only, he's not the only person. One of the co-defendants could snitch too. Walter Murphy could. I'm not saying you will. I don't know if you're running around these streets. I ain't calling you no snitch, my boy. Y'all crazy. Anyway, Adrien Bean is the one who was on the phone call, the jail call, which there's only two pieces of real evidence, and if you want to call it evidence, two pieces of evidence that even connect Young Thug to this at all. Without these two pieces of evidence, they was looking for a woman in a blonde wig. You got to remember that. They didn't even know there was another man involved at all. They looking for a woman in a blonde wig. Without this jail phone call, they don't know nothing about Young Thug. So Adrien Bean gets on the stand, right? They start Attorney Love, like I told y'all before, Attorney Love specializes in hostile witnesses. Go to the Fulton County website, look up Attorney Love, her subheader, hostile witness. Okay. This is one hostile witness she could not crack. She asked him, it had to be 100 to 200 questions. I'm not even exaggerating. She asked him questions for hours and hours and hours. He said, I don't know and I don't remember to everything.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn that you just wanted to put what you had going on behind you and that you wanted to get all of that stuff behind you?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall Detective Quinn asking you about the white boy that lent you the car?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall Detective Quinn telling you that the car was not even the white boy's car to lend and that he shouldn't have done it?
No, ma'am.
He knew his name. He knew how long he'd been married, how long he was with his woman. He knew that Young Thug was a rapper. He didn't know nothing else. And she asked him, so many questions. I'm not even exaggerating. She was asking him questions like she was baffled that he would not answer her. He said, I don't remember nothing from 2013. I don't remember anything from 2013. And he stood on it. I don't remember it. She like, you don't remember telling this detective this? I don't remember nothing from 2013. He like, I suffered from Molly. I was laughing at that because he didn't say I suffer from drug addiction. I suffer from Molly addiction. He said I suffer from Molly. Y'all know what Molly is? Like, so he'd been in a bunch of car accidents. He got hit by a police car that day. I guess when they were chasing him down through the parking lot or whatever, one of the cop cars hit him while he was running, like physically hit his body. So he's going with the whole, like, pretty much my memory is effed up because of the drugs I was doing. I just got clean like 4 years ago. So even after that whole case, I was still doing a lot of drugs. So I don't know nothing. I don't remember nothing. They like, do you know Jeffrey Williams? He was like, yes, I know Jeffrey Williams. They're like, do you know two Jeffrey Williamses? He was like, she like, do you know Young Thug or whatever? Like, how do you know him? He like, I don't know him. I just know him as a rapper. I don't know him personally. She like, so you never met Jeffrey Williams? He was like, I don't remember. And then he went on the I don't remember thing for a long time. He don't remember who DK is. He don't know who Walter Murphy is. He never seen a man with a tattoo that has a D and a K on it. He don't remember no jail phone calls. He don't remember going to the crime scene to tell the judge, to tell the detective how it happened. Listen to what I'm saying to y'all. Trontavia Stevens showed us that even in a bad situation, like a plea deal like he was in where he had to pretty much tell everything, he figured out a way out of that. And I don't think he'll be impeached. Because Adrien Bean is not a co-defendant on this case, he doesn't have a plea deal saying that he has to say anything. He's not bound to a plea deal like that, right? He can't be bullied or coerced. I mean, they could try to bully him, but he can't be bullied or coerced in the like Trontavia Stevens was into saying anything. He don't have to. He was subpoenaed to come here. They said, we had to subpoena you to get here. You didn't really want to come, did you? He was like, no, I try to put all this stuff behind me. I'm a working man now. I got 3 grown kids. I'm married. Like, I ain't into none of that. I don't play in the streets like that no more. I did my time. I got out. I don't know nothing. He said, she said, you don't remember nothing from back then? He like, I put all that stuff behind me. I don't remember none of it. I don't remember nothing before prison. That's what he said. I don't remember nothing before prison. So, and he didn't play with it. So of course, like I said, Attorney Love, she does this. This is what she do. So her method is now, all right, you don't want to tell us what we know information that you have. All right, cool. I'm just going to let the world know you was snitching crazy back in 2013. So she goes and digs up the report that I guess Attorney Quinn got from, not attorney, Detective Quinn got. And she goes through every single thing that Detective Quinn and him discussed back in 2013, right after the incident happened. So pretty much every question that Detective Quinn asked, Love asked him that question and said, do you remember this? And to every single one of those items, Adrien Bean said, I don't remember. She said, do you recall? He said, no, ma'am. He said, no, ma'am, about 75 times. He said, I don't remember about 75 times. He didn't waver at all. And this the crazy thing about it. And this was a 2-part trick that Attorney Love was trying to do, right? The first part was she was trying to say things that were damning to his reputation or that would be damning to his character to make him look like a snitch or whatever. And it would, some people, it'll make them say, no, I never said that. Because now, wait, you do remember. If you know you didn't say this, then you do remember something. So even things that were said to make him look bad, he didn't fall for it to say, like, he didn't correct a single thing. And some of that stuff sounded crazy that he was saying to that detective. It sounded crazy. Like, bro, why is you walking him step through step of every single thing? He was like, when I say snitching crazy, I'm talking about, they even told what type of drink he asked for, like before he got to telling, like all that. So this is the 2-part thing. So first she did that tactic to say, let me see if I can say everything and let's see if he'll correct anything. That didn't work. He didn't correct nothing. He pretty much was like, say whatever you want. I don't remember nothing you saying anyway. I'll put that past me. I don't care what people think about me. And just like she did with Trontavia Stevens, she burned the asset. Now, okay, you don't want to snitch on me. You don't want to snitch. I'm just going to let the world know that you are a snitch. You did snitch. You've been snitching for a long time. Now, cool. Go live your life now. People going to know that you a snitch now. Cool. You don't want to answer my questions. That's fine. You'll just be a snitch in the streets now. So that's a 2-part trick. Either way, Adrien Bean established, I don't want to be here. I'm a working man. I don't care nothing about the streets. I'm not in them. I left that behind me a long time ago. Call me what you want. I'm free. And I'm staying free. That was the stance he took. And can you be mad at the man? They don't have anything to really punish him by. He has enough incidents in his life that he could justify. I don't remember. I've been hit by cars. I've been in car accidents. I've been shot. I've been stabbed. I've been this. I've been that. I don't remember. How you gonna tell the man he don't? Something that sounded terrible about him. He didn't clear it up. He didn't fix it. He didn't say, no, Attorney Love, that's not what I said. I said this other thing. That's where Stevens was going wrong. Because sometimes he would say stuff and he don't remember it. And other times he would say something like, bro, you clearly know what's going on. You should have stuck to the guns. But Adrien Bean, for sure. So they went through this whole thing. He didn't answer no questions. So they're going to start cross-examination on Monday. Honestly, now y'all tell me what y'all think. If you go to cross-examination, do you want to ask him any questions? Because I think that's why they decided, all right, we're not even going to ask him even a few questions this afternoon. They want to sit with it over the weekend and say, let's figure out if we should cross-examine him at all. He didn't give the state anything. By the way, remember I told you, he made that jail call, but they couldn't introduce that jail call into this trial until he gave them. They asked this man, yo, do you remember talking to your wife on the phone? He's like, I don't remember. You remember telling your wife this? I don't remember. So because he didn't answer any questions with any substantive answer, they can't now introduce that phone call from the jail that we all heard in the sidebar in administration time. We all heard that jail call. That jail call is crazy because he said DK is shooting at the police and Young Thug got out and got away. That's literally on the tape. One of the Codees said it, and they can't even play it because this man won't answer a question. Now, if the defense messes up and asks him the wrong question and he answers it, you're going to open the door for some foolishness by the state for them to come back and be like, oh, but you said this over here. Now we can play this tape because now we can refute what you just said over here. So personally, because he didn't give them anything, I would honestly you might ask him a couple questions about, hey, so what do you do for a living now? Like, congratulations on getting clean and all that type of stuff. It's good that you're no longer on drugs. Glad to see that you're doing well in life. Okay, goodbye. I wouldn't ask him a single thing about that crime. Don't ask him nothing. Even though he might still stick with his guns and say, I don't know nothing about it. Because it's not like he's there trying to help the defense either. He's there to say, I don't want to be here and I just want to be done with it. Like, just get me up out of here. Similar story to Eduardo Nava. He didn't want to be there either. And he pretty much said, hey, I was lying back then. Like, I really don't remember what I told the detectives. I was lying. When they don't want to be here, they're standing on it like, I don't know what to tell y'all. Like, y'all trying to ruin my life with this. I don't know. Even Attorney Love and him said they showed up to Adrien Bean's job to get him. Like, that's how desperate they getting right now. They thought they could bully that man into saying something. And he's like, nah, I don't know. He even played a cold game. He showed up with a mask on, so they can't even see his face. He did what he was supposed to do. He showed up with a mask on, cover your whole face. So now the only people who know what I look like are the people who know me for real in real life and some of these guys in the courtroom. They even asked him, did he know anybody in the courtroom? He said, I don't know nobody in here. Never seen them. Don't know who they are. Like, he stood on what he had to stand on. You know, he wore a mask. The judge told him, hey, you can wear a mask. He even did his thing. Like, he coughed a few times, let it be known, hey, I'm sick under here. Like, don't make me take this mask off. I'm coughing. So Adrien Bean, flawless testimony. Flawless. And I'm not saying because I want the case to go either way. I'm saying it because he came in there and did what he came to do, and he didn't let them trick him into doing something else. That's what I would consider flawless, right? So that's all I got for that, because that's pretty much how the week ended with Adrien Bean going down as an absolute legend after being a complete snitch back in 2013. I'm talking about if y'all go listen to the questions Attorney Love is asking him about stuff he said to Detective Quinn, completely disgusting. But shout out to him, man. He got his life together. He's 44 years old, so he's way older than all of them. He shouldn't have been with them anyway, because Young Thug is only 30 right now. So this dude is 13 years older than Thug. DK is younger than Thug. So you was really riding around with kids back in 2013. And for what? You was in your 30s. They was kids. Very, very strange. He told the detective back there, yeah, DK that's Thug's foot soldier. Anything he tell him to do, he'll do it. That dirty red thing, that was Thug's lick. Thug knew that he was going to be over there with some money. Thug knows him. I guess they seen him go to the ATM, get money or something, and they came back to the car and said, hey, Red got the money over there. Let's go get it. And pretty much the statements that Bean gave to Detective Quinn back in 2013 is where I'm getting this from. He told him all this type of stuff. Has nothing to do with nothing. The boy was just telling crazy. Now, y'all let me know what y'all think about that. Man, we are, I don't even know how many more witnesses they're going to have on this one incident. We still haven't seen Walter Murphy yet. That's going to be another bombshell testimony, because Walter Murphy is one of the key figures that comes up in a lot of the crimes that are being discussed here. He was a young wild boy. You understand? He was really, he was on demon time for sure. You know what I'm saying? And I had tweeted a few days ago, like, I see why people are kind of scared of that whole crew right there, because they don't seem like they have rules or limits or guides or nothing. Like, that's why Shard was kind of saying this is not like a normal gang. These dudes don't really have a code for real. Like, that's why I guess it makes sense why this whole slime and snake thing is their whole image, because like they said on like whoever tweet that they read, they'll slime anybody out. They'll slime anybody. That's it. Like, they'll rob you, they'll shoot you, they'll snitch on you, they'll anything that need to happen, they'll do it. So yeah, man. These young dudes is crazy, man. Shout out to the witnesses for remaining trying to remain as neutral as possible, because them boys they're playing a different type of game. So, especially if they know where you live and they can find you and all that type of stuff. So now let's move on to the Fani Willis disqualification hearing. Now, as y'all know, the actual witness testimonies and all that type of stuff that happened a couple weeks ago, and then The judge went and did some research on this whole attorney-client privilege thing that Bradley and Wade was trying to push. Excuse me. And the judge said, I just did some research and I got up with some people too. And that attorney-client privilege stuff, that don't count. Y'all, that don't matter here. Like, your attorney-client privilege is about you and your capacity as his divorce lawyer and things that have to do with that divorce. That don't cover these conversations that you had with Wade about the start of his relationship with Fani Willis. Okay. So you got to talk about it. So pretty much they bring Terrence Bradley back into the courtroom on like Monday or Tuesday or whatever this week. And they re-question him about these text messages. Ashley Merchant is back on him. Yo, what's good with these messages that you sent me and that we was talking about? We was talking about all this. And you said that, and now you changing your answers up. Like, what is this about? You told me that their relationship started when they was both judges in municipal court. You told me, I asked you if the relationship started before XYZ. You told me absolutely. You said you knew about all these trips to this place, but you told me everything, my boy. Now up here, you doing this type of, you taking everything back or saying you speculated. And so pretty much, so while Ashley Merchant is asking the questions, Mr. Bradley's attorney is objecting to pretty much everything. And Bradley is pausing for a very long time. Every time he gets questioned, I guess he's pausing, like giving his attorney time. Hey, think of an objection and get it off. Cause I'm not trying to answer none of these questions. So everything that they ask, object to it and say that, we already discussed it. So pretty much that's what they did the whole time. They tried to bail him out, but it didn't work because he still looked like a major liar up there. But Ashley Merchant even accused him. He said, hey, they're clearly coaching him. Like Bradley is looking at Wade in the courtroom and they're signaling to each other non-verbally. And Bradley, he got offended by that. He didn't like that she said that, but she said it. So now one thing I did find out is that when Bradley told Ashley Merchant all of this information, this was like a couple months ago. This was while he knew that she was investigating Nathan Wade. I thought that this was like gossip from way back in the day when they first, while they was all still friends. I thought they was just gossiping. But all of this stuff that Bradley told her was so that she could use it in this investigation. He knew she was using it and he was trying to help her use it, right? So he was trying to help her use it, and so much so that Ashley Merchant sent Bradley the motion that she was going to file, the motion to disqualify Nathan Wade and Fani Willis and all that, sent it to him with all this improper stuff by Wade and Willis and all that so that he could look it over and make sure the details were correct. He had the copy of the thing before anybody else. Terrence Bradley did. He sent it back to her and said, everything looks good. So he was literally a co-conspirator in this whole thing against Nathan Wade and Fani Willis. But then, now that was in the midst of him and Nathan Wade had fell out, and he hadn't talked to him in almost 2 years, right? Because the whole sexual assault thing in the workplace and them cut him from the law firm and all that type of stuff. So he was pretty much beefing with him. So he like, yo, I'm gonna help them bury him. I'm gonna give Ashley Merchant all his information. And I put it in a text, so there's proof of it. There's a bunch of text messages that I sent. But then I guess Terrence Bradley had a conversation with a guy named Gabe. What is his name? Gabe Banks? Let me make sure I got the right name. Gabriel Banks, I think is the name. Yeah. So Bradley has a conversation with Banks. Banks is very close friends with Nathan Wade, right? So he hasn't talked to Nathan Wade in 2 years, but he talked to Nathan Wade's right hand, right? So whatever happened in that conversation, it made Terrence Bradley change everything. So it pretty much now we're at the point where we're at now, and it's pretty much like I don't have anything to say. I don't know anything, like attorney-client privilege, all that, I don't know anything. And it was all speculation. Even when I did say it, I had no way of knowing. I don't know. So they are super on him like that. But either way, like Bradley is not on trial. Bradley's just some guy that just got exposed for being nasty. He sexually assaulted one of his employees. He was so nasty, he sexually assaulted a client. Like, he just can't help himself, right? So he's just been exposed for like being a disgusting fella. Lied on, or whether he lied on your friend or you lied to these people while he was doing an investigation. He pretty much is in the middle of a lot of this stuff because he's just running his mouth. So so that happened on like Tuesday or whatever. They established like, so you telling us you're lying now? Like, we know that you was telling the truth because you knew everything that was going on and you supplied this information and you confirmed it. That was like 2 months. That was at the beginning of January, they said. So whatever that happened, he was the only witness they brought back. They didn't make Nathan Wade testify again after the whole attorney-client privilege thing. So pretty much that was done. Then they said, all right, we're going to come back Friday and we're going to give final arguments and then I'll make my decision. The judge said that. We'll make a decision. So then we come to Friday. The judge starts it out like pretty much referee type. He's like, yo, defense, y'all get an hour and a half. Y'all split it up however y'all decide. And the state is going to get an hour and a half. And they do whatever they do with that hour and a half. So the defense gets up there. They're like, all right, we're going to do 20 minutes each. You know what I'm saying? We're going to do our thing like that. It starts out very key to me because this was very strange. I don't know what this was about. It starts out with Ashley Merchant's husband, not Ashley Merchant. Now, y'all tell me what y'all saw when y'all think about this. Me, I'm like, how deep is the sexism in this whole camp that they didn't let Ashley Merchant finish out her food? They didn't let her finish her own plate. This entire thing is in front of us because of information Ashley Merchant knew about, because of a motion Ashley Merchant filed, because of a friend that she had that fed her all the dirt. Ashley Merchant is the one that cracked all of this investigation and all of this looking into Nathan Wade and looking into Fani Willis. She's the one that had it. She did it. And instead of letting this lady finish out her joint, finish out her argument and close the case, seal the deal, they sent her husband up there. Now, maybe one of y'all have more information about this thing than me. I watched it from the beginning. I didn't hear them say like, hey, she's out with COVID, or hey, she got to take care of the kids, or hey, she's doing it. I didn't hear none of that. So the judge even thought that she was there. The judge said, go ahead, Ms. Merchant. And then the husband walked up and said, sorry, you stuck with me. So even the judge didn't know what was going on with that. So I need somebody to explain to me. And I felt like the judge was rocking with Ashley Merchant, like just watching this whole hearing and all this. It wasn't like the judge was kind of pushing back against her a lot and telling her to sit down, shut up, like, sustaining all these objections against her. I didn't see that. So to me, I need somebody to tell me for what reason would they not allow her to finish her meal? You know what I mean? Like, this whole thing is because of her. So the fact that she didn't get a chance to close it out is a little weird to me, especially with her husband being her partner. He should have made sure she was the one that closed this out. Come on, this is the whole thing. Like, a lot of women in these spaces, of course they might love you, like you, whatever, as a spouse or whatever, but a lot of them also need you to not just protect them from other people, but to make sure that they're in spots in the front. Because sometimes people try to push them to the back, and they want you to like say, hey, all y'all chill. It's her turn. Like, let her do it. That's what they need us as men for also. It's like, nah, y'all, get the whole room quiet so that she could talk. Not get the whole room quiet so you could talk for her. That's not what that's for. Again, I don't know why she wasn't there. Maybe somebody else heard it. I didn't hear them say anything about her incapability of being in the courtroom. I think she was on Zoom, actually. So it's very odd to me that they wouldn't make sure that she was just there on Tuesday or whatever, earlier in the week, whatever day that was. She was just there. So the fact that you as the spouse and partner wouldn't make sure that the lady who cracked this whole thing off wasn't there to finish it, very telling. But anyway, so Mr. Merchant gets up there. He does his whole 20 minutes and he went over a little bit talking about how there's all this evidence and it's just too much of a conflict of interest. Like, and you don't even really need, you don't need like hard evidence about any of it. Just the fact that there's a question about these people's character and their ethics and all this, just the fact that there's a question is enough to get them disqualified, because prosecutors have a higher, and I don't know if he said this, but pretty much the gist of what they were all saying is prosecutors have a higher standard. They can't do anything out of pocket. You know what I'm saying? He's like, what do they call it? Forensic misconduct, because they're like, she's supposed to report any gifts and benefits over $100. So the fact that she's like, yeah, I'll just pay them back, and they're saying like she doesn't have any proof of paying anybody back. There's no bank statement showing that any money was received. There's no proof of anything saying that. Excuse me. There's no proof of anything saying that Fani Willis paid back Nathan Wade. Nowhere. Which means, so the reason that's important is because like pretty much saying that that's a gift. That wasn't just like a loan and you gave it back. That's a gift because you accepted something that you didn't have to pay back on. So it's improper gifting. Essentially, you used your position as district attorney to funnel money to your boyfriend, and then he spent that money on you. So this is an improper situation going on. And that's pretty much what they're saying. And then, I felt like, and I'm not going to go through what every defense attorney said, because now that I'm thinking about it, all of it goes together. And I'm going to say this is what I like what the defense did. They kind of tricked Nathan Wade and Fani Willis, right? Because they put a lot of emphasis on, did this relationship start before November 1st, 2021 or whatever? And like, so all of these situations is like, nah, we didn't start a relationship before that. We started our relationship after that. And then the defense kind of flipped it to kind of say, now they didn't say this verbatim, but they kind of were hinting that it really don't even matter when a relationship started. The fact that you're in a relationship with a person that is appointed under you as a special prosecutor in a major case like this, that is a conflict of interest, because the conflict of interest comes in when we say the person doing the appointing, which would be the district attorney, elected official, district attorney, should be disinterested from pretty much the outcome of the case, or disinterested from the case and how it goes. But because that is your boyfriend or your partner at some point or at any point, you're not disinterested. You're extremely interested. And that's also proven by, and they kept bringing this up, the speech that she gave at a church. So you are now trying to malign the character, as you're an elected official in a position of power in a judicial system in Fulton County. You're trying to malign the character of the defendants instead of just letting the case play out as it needs to play out and just letting the facts prove what the facts prove. So you pretty much went into this church and said that they were trying to attack this black man, saying that they were racist. And again, I'm speaking on it like I don't agree or disagree with either one. I'm saying what the defense was saying. They're pretty much saying that her going into that church to call them racist was also improper and a violation of her what is it, fiduciary duties type of thing. So they pretty much brought up a lot of different reasons as to why any one of these reasons should be the reason that they're disqualified from this case, and that Fani Willis is removed from this case, presiding over this whole thing. And then so they took their hour, and they actually took an hour and like 25 minutes. So they had an extra 5, and then they came up and said, hey, can we like take this extra 5 as a rebuttal, because we don't have enough time to really do another segment. And the judge is like, all right, cool, whatever. So now the state goes up there, and the state is just the prosecutor that went up there for the state. First of all, he's choppy, stumbling through the whole thing. He didn't have any strategy. He just kept repeating the same stuff over and over again. I'm like, yo. And Fani Willis actually came into the courtroom for the state side of things. And I'm like, yo, there's no way she's confident after he just did what he was stumbling through everything. He was having a hard time answering the judge's questions. And when I say he kept repeating himself, this man really kept saying the same stuff over and over again. One time, The judge asked him something about these cases. He was like, but the case law doesn't really say what you're saying right there. It doesn't really show conflict. He froze.
What I would submit to the court is...
Let's go back to that. Show me how.
Yes. Show you how.
So I think the first one they cited was battle versus the state. Certainly a conflict of interest or the appearance of impropriety can be the grounds of disqualification.
Well,
there are a number of these cases that seem to exclusively rely on the appearance of impropriety.
right.
Well, they acknowledge that there's some ambiguity here, that sometimes Whitworth gets cited to Ventura, and we've got this quote that comes up where it's just they only cite to an actual conflict that must be involved. But they acknowledge the ambiguity. You're saying there's no ambiguity whatsoever.
I am saying that, and why I am saying that, why I would submit that to the court, is in all of those cases, they do reference the appearance of an impropriety, but they reference that because they also find there's an actual conflict in each one of those cases.
So your position would be, your review of the case law, there's never been an appellate opinion that relied only on an appearance of impropriety.
As it relates to a prosecutor or district attorney, yes, that is what I'm saying.
Like he just froze. Like, I'm gonna try to find the clip and put it there. He froze. He didn't really have an answer. Like, he just got stuck. And then the judge even looked away on some the judge kind of caused secondhand embarrassment for him. I'm like, whoa, this dude is not the person that should be in this position. It's funny. The state also did that thing because a lot of the other hearings for this whole situation I saw, it was a woman prosecutor doing the question and all that type of stuff. But they ended the final argument with the man. Very interesting why they did that. I don't know. But yeah, this is a very wild one. I mean, they pretty much ended it out. I think the prosecutor did a terrible job, like making his argument. And when he ended it kind of awkward. The judge is like, okay. The judge, because the judge, this is what they call an argument. So the judge is going back and forth with these attorneys as they're talking. He did it with the defense and with the state. So he was going back and forth with them, trying to get a better understanding of what assertions are you really trying to make. And is it sound? Like, are you making sense right now? Like, can we look at the case law? Like, I'm familiar with it. Like, let's look through it and figure out like what you're talking about, because I don't really know if you know what you're saying right now. So the judge is challenging them a little bit and making sure that what they're saying is a sound argument. And of course, they had to defend their points and stuff like that. But when it was over, then, the attorney for the defense, one of the attorneys for the defense, I think it was Trump's attorney, he came back up to finish it off with the final 5 minutes. And he pretty much just said what I just said. Like, he just came up here and repeated the same thing a bunch of times, and he didn't even address what we've been saying. So they pretty much don't have anything that could help stop them from this disqualification. Pretty much, here's a laundry list of things as to why they should be disqualified. They was hiding it. If this relationship was so proper, they wouldn't have hit it like that. And I didn't realize that I thought they just had like phone call and text message records. They have all of the cell phone data for Nathan Wade. And they said they talked on the phone for so many thousand times. I'm like, damn. They followed his geo-tracking data, followed him to that East Point apartment that was Miss Yersey's. Am I saying her name right? Man, it's tough. Like I've been saying, the way that everything came out, I thought that Nathan Wade was in trouble even before the final arguments. I think that he's for sure getting removed. I don't see any other way I don't see how they can combat the removal part. All of it just looks too bad. And pretty much what the defense is saying is that just the fact that you have any of this improper activity, the fact that you had an attorney lie in his divorce proceedings less than a year ago with this affidavit saying he never had any relationship with any other woman. And then he came up in here and said, like, yeah, I did have a relationship with this other woman. And he's still married to this day. That alone calls his whole character into question. And he shouldn't be able to, he's a lawyer, so he understands the magnitude of lying under oath. And he did it willy-nilly in his own divorce hearing. So Yeah, man, y'all put in the comments. Y'all let me know how you think it's gonna go. I know how I think it's gonna go, and it's not because I don't like Fani Willis. I like Fani Willis. I just think that she made bad decisions when it came to how she wanted her district attorney appointment to go. Not appointment, her district attorney term. I think she made bad decisions. She decided it would have been cool if she would have just stuck to let me take out the gangs, or if she would have said let me take out the political people. But going after high-level $1 million gangs and going after $1 billion political people at the same time, knowing that your office is, or maybe she didn't know, I guess she's finding out now, your office is not strong enough for that. You don't have strong enough prosecutors to do what you're trying to do right now. And this really hit me, and it made me think, like, the best lawyers in the world don't work for state prosecution offices. Like, the best lawyers work for rich people. That's the financial people, that's the lawsuit people, and that's the criminal people, the criminal defense people. They work for rich people, and they work at rich businesses, high value businesses, high net value or market value businesses. That's where the best lawyers in the world work. And they work to protect their clients from lawsuits and stuff like that. They don't work to prosecute. Prosecutors shine because they are bullies against poor black people. That's why prosecutors have 95, 98% conviction rates, because they get to bully poor people. It's not because they're just like super lawyers and they just do everything good and they're just like the smartest people ever. They really just make their name off of, you get a dirty cop, pass me some information. Hey, I'm going to threaten them in the thing. I'm going to tell them, hey, if you don't take this plea deal, you're looking at 10 years. You take this plea deal, you can get out in 6 months. So somebody, that's the type of stuff that they do. That's where they make their marbles. That's they get their rocks off doing stuff like that. The poor people, somebody that's like, dang, I can't afford a lawyer to help me fight this, and I'm stuck. Really, I'll just take the 6 months and I'll take the conviction. I'll be a felon forever and I'll be on probation for 10 years. Whole time, they're going to get caught up again because the police going to bother them. Police contact is a probation violation. So these prosecutors, they really it's no other time been more evidenced than in this Trump hearing situation. Because the prosecutors in this whole thing trying to go against Trump's lawyers and all them, they look terrible. Not gonna lie, they look terrible. And the way Nathan Wade was answering those questions, if he would have had to prosecute in this case, I would have watched it. That had to be some must-see TV, because I had to hear how he's prosecuting somebody. I had to hear it. Bradley, I don't know what you, I don't even know if you're going to still be a lawyer when this is over, my boy. We out of here, man. Let me move on to something, because, excuse me. Here's a thing that, and I've been meaning to talk about this for a little minute, because I see a lot of people that think this is the way to go. And, and this is what I'll say. If you are formerly in the streets, from the streets, whatever, and you see a group of young dudes, and you've been to prison and all that, you see a group of young dudes and you feel like you could guide them a different way, I need us as men, as black men, stop telling black boys prison stories, jail stories, street stories as a way to some type of way deter them from getting in the streets. I'm gonna tell you, and I know the thinking behind it. You're trying to kind of scare them straight. That's almost a 0% success rate of that method right there. Almost 0% chance of working. You almost never going to find somebody that walked up to a group of young dudes in the streets, told them about the negative consequences of the streets, and it made them leave the streets alone. That's like 0% chance of working. It's not going to work. You know why it's not going to work? Because the first thought they think is, and it's not even cliche, this is really what people think. The first thought is, that's not going to happen to me. Second thought is, I'm smarter than that. I got it figured out. Mostly they think that because they haven't been in trouble yet. So they think like what I'm doing right now is working because I've been doing it for this long and I haven't been caught. And even if I have been caught for some stuff, I haven't been caught for what I'm doing right now. That's I'm just putting you in the mind of a young dude, right? And the third thought is, he thinking in his head about the person talking to him. You just wasn't that smart. You just didn't know what you was doing for real. You see what I'm saying? So, and telling them these stories is fortifying the amount of information that they have about the streets. They already know about the streets. Telling them more about the streets doesn't make them say, I don't want to be in the streets anymore. It says, okay, now I have that information. I'm going to remember it as I continue my path in the streets. Of course, that's not the words that they're going to say. They're just in their head thinking like, oh, okay, cool. Oh, here, I get it. Oh, yeah. Oh, you said in jail they doing what? They doing, and the only thing they thinking is, I'm not going to go through that. It's not going to happen to me. What I'm proposing, because like I don't just throw out, just a problem and never have a solution, right? What I'm proposing is, if you really want to help these young dudes, if you really think that you figured it out and you got away from the streets and you did all that so that you ain't got to do it no more, and you want to get these other young dudes out the streets, the only thing you should be doing with them is introducing them to something else. You don't have to talk to no young dudes about the streets at all. I promise you, you don't. I know that y'all want to get in cool. Oh, I got the young homies. I'm cool with the young homies. Oh, the young street niggas like me. That's the problem. And it's funny because I hear Wallow say all the time that y'all want to be their friends and all that. But I'm looking at it like, and I'm not trying to knock Wallow. I'm not knocking him. I'm saying that the approach of telling you, even though you might be yelling at him, even though you might be cussing and all that, you're still doing the same thing that all these other dudes is doing. And that approach is because you're trying to be their friend too. You want to be their big homie. You want them to look up to you. It's not like that you actually trying to give them an alternative. You just want them to look up to you. You hope that whatever they do in the streets, that one day they'll come back and say, yeah, when I heard Wallow get that speech, it changed my life. That's what you're really looking for. You're not really looking to actually change what's going on. If you want to change what's going on, like me, as a software developer, if I see a young dude that's in the streets and I want to help him out, I'm gonna tell him, yo, see if your mama lets you come with me one day while I go to work. Now, some people might be like, that's so unrealistic. It's really not. A lot of these young dudes don't be having nothing to do. They need somebody to take them out there, like literally physically take them out of the environment that they're in. That's not even a joke. They need somebody to take them somewhere else and guide them though. Don't just take them somewhere else and drop them off and leave them and tell them figure it out, because they're going to end up recreating the situation they was already in. You gotta, and even if you only get a chance to do it one time, if you take them somewhere else, they're going to always remember, yo, I remember when I did this thing one time and I was programming for a day. I remember that. That's what helped me. A lot of people don't be knowing the background story. Like, look, I was in a situation when I was in my first year in high school, right? And I was getting in trouble. They was about to kick me out of my high school. But I had a dean who was a black man though, and he's like, yo, he got potential. He wouldn't let them kick me out. He just kept on fighting for me. He kept on arguing with he pretty much lost his job, and he pretty much lost his job because of me, honestly. But he did not let them do me crazy, but he essentially died on that hill. Look at me now, he was right, but back then it was a problem. But anyway, so I was getting into stuff. They kept on talking about, yo, they're going to kick me out of the school. And what he did was he got me an internship at an architectural firm. And the only thing I did every Wednesday after school, I go down to this joint, downtown Youngstown, Ohio, go down there and work on the computer, work on like drawings. Like if y'all know blueprints, drawings, I was working on AutoCAD back then in 2004 or 5. Right? Working on AutoCAD. And that was the first time I ever seen anything like that. First time I ever did anything like that. There was no black people in this thing. It was just me, a 14-year-old in this architectural firm called like Jaminet and something, or Losky or something like that. It was an architectural firm downtown. I used to walk down there after school. And that was all I did on Wednesdays. And then, of course, They end up kicking me out of there, but they kicked me out because they said like they didn't think I was enjoying it, whatever. But anyway, but I'm saying something like that stuck with me forever, because even doing any of the other stuff that I might have got into, I always kept it in my head like, hey, I could do this thing I can do. Like, I know about drawings, I know about architecture, I know about this, I know about buildings and structures and stuff like that. And it's in the back of my head. And them type of experiences never leave nobody's head. You take somebody and you remove them from the situation. Put them somewhere else, man. I swear to God, if you think that it's just like the Scared Straight program, like taking somebody into a jail does not make them stay out of jail. I know y'all think like, oh, this is going to scare them straight. They're going to leave crying. They're never going to want to come back here. It works the opposite. It's like a roller coaster. So once you're in it, it's like, this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. Get me off this thing. Then when you come down and that adrenaline rush leaves, you're like, a lot of people, especially people who commit crimes, like people who commit crimes are a different set of people. These are not, it's not normal. So it's like, yo, I'm not scared of that feeling. That feeling now, I felt like I just survived it. Even though you just only in there for a day, it was very controlled, but you feel like you just survived something. And now it comes with a badge of honor because it was a game. And now to your little friends, they're like, oh yeah, I was in the jail. It was weak in there. They wasn't doing nothing. They was yelling. They wasn't gonna do nothing to me though. I was going, you don't know what I would have did up in there. And it's just like it's going to give a little 14-year-old kid a badge of honor. That's not a good thing to do. I'm ranting right now because it's so many, I'm looking at so many different things right now, and I'm not going to say too much because of the amount of personal experience I got in certain situations. But what I'm just trying to say is, you don't have to tell black boys about the streets. I promise you can connect to them about different stuff, especially if they in the streets. I promise you they know about the streets. You don't got to talk to them about it. Talk to them about something else. And not just talk to them because you want them to still be able to connect to them. I think that we got to they got to bring back, and I don't even know if they have this still. They might still have it somewhere, but you got to be able to bring these kids into these workplaces. You see what I'm saying? I haven't done that at my job, but if I run into somebody, and I'm not where I'm from, so I don't really know who in the streets and who doing what. So I don't know. But for the people that live where they're from and they know who in the streets, they know what's going on. If you have a podcast, don't bring a young dude on the podcast to tell him about the streets. Bring him on the podcast and have one of your camera operators teach him about cameras. That's going to help him. All of us are going to find escapism in something, right? It could be drugs, it could be alcohol, or it could be photography, or it could be wildlife, or it could be painting, or it can be computer programming, or it could be gaming, or it could be robbing people. We're going to find escape in something. So if I can take you out of the streets for a few hours while I do if I could take you out of the streets for the full Saturday, and I'm about to do 3 interviews, and I'm going to let you sit with my cameraman, and he's going to tell you about every control on the camera. And then next Saturday, he's going to let you be the one to operate it. Or maybe, let's say 4 Saturdays from now, you're going to come every Saturday. I'm going to teach you everything. You're going to be my intern around here. And then we're going to let you operate the camera in a couple weeks, right? People don't think about it because they think like, oh, these kids is young and they just tough. They don't care about nothing. They do care about something. They don't have nobody that's going to give them any type of leeway. Everybody is treating them like they dinosaurs. Not dinosaurs as in old, but dinosaurs as in rough animals that kind of need to be stayed away from or feared. Right? You can walk up to a young dude, not mention the streets at all, and you're going to find out that they actually got a lot of different hobbies. They actually like a lot of different things that's not related to anything criminal. You will find that out if you just had a conversation with them about something other than the streets. You see what I'm saying? Maybe they might not mess with the camera. Maybe they have never been hiking. You take them out hiking and you find out, oh, this dude like rocks. He like rocks. You like rocks for real? And then you know, I'm talking for the people who are in this world of acting like they care about actually changing some of these people. I'm not saying everybody just go out and do this. I'm saying that there's groups of people who say that they are into this type of thing, right? Me personally, I like to catch the kids younger than that. You know what I'm saying? Because once they in the streets, a lot of times they in the streets because something else is going on. That even if you kind of take them out of the situation, they still already dealing with what they're dealing with. Most of the time, it's in their house. You see what I'm saying? And their mind is already made up a lot of times that I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. So, and I'm not saying that they damage product and you can't help them. I'm saying that it's a lot harder because they dealing with stuff that you don't even know about. So coming and giving them lectures about the streets and all that, it's not going to do much. They're there for a reason. A lot of them. I'm saying a lot of them. I do still think that taking them out of that environment will help a lot though. But me, I do like, you know what I'm saying, we get them younger, introduce them to different stuff, talk to them like but that was what I wanted to say about that, man. Let's stop trying to have conversations with these young dudes about the streets. Who cares that you know about the streets, that you got more experience than them, that it was rougher in the 90s or the 80s? Like, who cares about that? Why are you telling somebody that's in the streets right now what it used to be like in the 90s? Like, why? And maybe you just want to tell your stories. Maybe you want them to get back to doing what y'all used to do or what we used to do back in the day. But that it's really no reason at all. First of all, you trying to be cool to the kids. That's not cool at all. And I just said this. I'm not trying to make cool. I'm not trying to make being smart cool. I'm just trying to make being smart regular. You see what I'm saying? I don't want like something that I think is essential to life. I don't need it to be cool. I don't want it to be cool. I don't want being a good dad to be cool. I don't want being a provider to be cool. I don't want being smart to be cool. I don't care about cool. I want it to be regular, the regular network. I want it to be regular. You understand what I'm saying? Real quick, before I move on, I'm gonna tell y'all why I call this the regular network. And I never said this really, I don't think, on the podcast. It's called the regular podcast and the regular network is because when I was in the military, right, they used to talk to me as if like I was some type of different different type of black person. And like being smart is like, oh, you different. And a few people said that, like, you different because I'm running through all like highly advanced technical stuff with electronics and radars and all type of stuff. And I'm running through it while all these white people struggling, everybody's struggling, but not me, right? Not everybody, but a lot of people, they were struggling bad. And they like, oh, but you know what I'm saying? Like you different, you're not really like other black people. And I just had to always, and I that was never a compliment to me way back to when I was a kid. When I'm saying kid, I'm like 17, 18 years old. When people would say that to me, I always corrected them. I'm like, bro, I know 25 black people smarter than me that I went to school with. I wasn't the smartest black kid in my school by far. It was a whole bunch of them smarter than me. And it ain't like I went to some super type of school. I'm just saying that I'm not exceptional. I'm regular. There's a whole bunch of people just like me. There's nothing abnormal about me knowing how to read and knowing how to do math and understanding electronics and computers and all. That's regular. The thing that y'all don't see, y'all just don't see black people, so y'all don't know how many smart black people it is. So that's my whole thing about like I'm regular. Like I'm not doing anything abnormal. When you see me sit on that's why I take so much exception to people when they say like they make these crazy blanket statements like black people don't understand this and black people don't understand that. I'm like, how come I guarantee you that a lot of the people that say stuff like that, they wasn't the smartest black person that they grew up around. You was around black people that was smarter than you. Probably a few. If you was like me, I for sure was around black people that was way smart. I got a few friends that's way smarter than me. It really, like, you just got to understand that it's regular. All of what we do and what we be talking about is regular. Me talking about politics and science and business and all that, there's a bunch of black people that do talk about the same stuff. They might not have podcasts, but there's a lot of us. A whole lot. There's more of us than there are people that's criminals. And I know y'all don't like to hear that. I know y'all want to think that everybody is Take K and Sexy Red, but there's very few of them, and when I say very few, I mean like they're overwhelmingly outnumbered, right? So that's where this whole regular network and the regular podcast, that's where that comes from. It comes from me having to correct so many white people in the military with them acting like I was some special type of Negro. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm regular. There's a bunch of black people that's smarter than me. There's a bunch of black people as smart as me. It's like stop it. I made honor roll one grade period, one time in 11th grade. No other time in my life did I ever make honor roll. Which grades don't really mean smart or not. I'm just saying I wasn't even a good student like that. You know what I'm saying? So, like, stop it. But that's where the regular podcast, regular network come from. I did one more thing about this thing. You know, my generation I was born in 90, right? So I'm a 90s baby, and I came up in my teen age in the 2000s. Excuse me. People that's from my era, there was a lot of broken homes and single moms and all that type of stuff, right? But there was lessons that we got from the men that was around, whether they was in the house as like a step parent, whether they was an uncle, whether they was an OG down the street, whatever. We got lessons, and them lessons was considered like toxic masculinity. Nowadays, a lot of them lessons that we got back then, it was considered toxic masculinity, right? But I actually think that toxic masculinity was like hyper masculinity, first of all, and it kind of helped us to retain, in my generation, helped us to retain some of the masculinity with all of these single moms. Because if you grow up in a crib and your mom is the only one giving guidance and all that, for the most part, you're gonna mainly just pick up on whatever your mom is doing and just copy it, right? So with that hyper masculinity piece, now, because with the hyper masculinity piece, we was picking up things that could help us boost our testosterone somewhere. Outside fighting, doing dangerous stuff, playing football in the street. You know what I'm saying? Say you might have been doing some crazy workout outside with some older homies or whatever like that. All of these things help increase your testosterone, whether you want to agree to it or not. And nowadays they kind of fight against that toxic masculinity, but they never fixed the broken home problem, right? So when you don't fix the broken home problem, that means there's still a whole bunch of single moms out here. But then you got rid of the thing that helps these young boys increase their testosterone. You got rid of that, right? And that's why with these younger kids now, and I'm not knocking them at all, I'm just an observation. A lot of these younger kids now, younger dudes, they get called sassy a lot. They get called super feminine a lot. They get called feminine all the time. And I think it's because the ones who don't have their dads in the house, where they getting any of it from? Where they getting any of the testosterone? Where they getting any of the things the activities and stuff that boost your testosterone up? Where they getting that? We was outside like this, Rams crashing into each other. That's how we used to be outside doing that. And if it wasn't just like, not saying that we was just fighting all day, I'm saying we was doing competitive stuff that just kept us, kept our testosterone high as young boys. All different types of stuff, whatever you want to, anything. You know what I'm saying? Racing, football, and then we got older, it started to become other stuff. But I'm saying like the lessons in the way that we was going, it did help us retain some of it. But when you don't have that at all now, and there's no dad in the crib, you can't, you get rid of the masculinity, you got to fix the broken home problem first. Like, that never got fixed. There's still a whole bunch of broken homes. So we need these boys to get it from somewhere. Where they gonna get it from? It's not about violence. I'm not saying violence. I'm saying activities that increase testosterone is what I'm saying. Violence is one of them, but I'm saying that it wasn't just all violence. We was doing all type of stuff. You see what I'm saying? So it's like you gotta figure out they got rid of something that is a bad thing, but it did help my generation. You see what I'm saying? It helped us for sure. And I'll give shout outs to names and saying names, and I'm not gonna say nobody's name, but shout out to my area of the North Side, Youngstown, and my area of when I was living in Warren, Trumbull Homes, and my area when I was visiting Farrell and Sharon and all that. My area is like with all the cousins and the people on the street and all that type of stuff. I don't know what I would have been like without these areas. You got kids up in the house all day. They on phones often. They on tablets often. You know what I'm saying? They not really, the only male presence that they getting is the other boys that they go to school with. A lot of them, not a lot, maybe some of them. Some of these boys ain't getting no male presence till they go to school, and there's other kids. You feel me? So, man, that's tough. I want us to really be mindful of that. Don't knock our survival mechanisms because it might not be perfect. That hyper masculinity, that what y'all call toxic masculinity, helped us. We might not be the most emotionally intelligent people, or not emotionally intelligent because we understand our emotions. We might not be the most emotionally available people. Our generation. We might not be, and people before us, we might not be the most emotionally available people. But that masculinity that y'all call toxic masculinity, it helped us. It helped us with accountability. It helped us with responsibility. It helped us become one of the best generations of black fathers that this country ever seen. That's my generation. We was raised on that stuff that they call toxic masculinity. You see what I'm saying? Broken homes everywhere. And when I say broken homes, I mean like your mom and dad ain't together. All over the place. You see what I'm saying? So that thing that y'all knocking, it helped make us the best generations of dad, the best generation of fathers that the game done seen. And it's a whole lot of people that attest to that we are the best generation of dads out here. You see what I'm saying? We got it from them lessons that y'all told us is toxic. I'm out of here, man. I appreciate y'all for sticking with me, watching this, riding with me. By the way, the judge in the I ain't even finished that. The judge in the Fani Willis thing, he said that he's gonna make a decision sometime within the next 2 weeks. All right. So y'all make sure y'all stay tuned for that. When it comes up, I will be reacting to it or doing a review of it, I guess. This is kind of reactions, reviews, whatever. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the notification bell. Make sure you comment your thoughts below. I really need y'all to comment your thoughts below. And I appreciate everybody who has been commenting. Comment your thoughts below. Oh, by the way, if you are a juror in this YSL case, you're not supposed to be watching this. But if you are, I want to interview you. This is not the biggest platform, but I will give you a voice. When this whole trial is over, I don't care how long it takes. It could be a year, 2 years, whatever. When this trial is over, holla at your boy. Let's get an interview cracking. You see what I'm saying? Let's get an interview cracking, man. I want to interview you. I want to go stages and I want to figure out, what were you thinking when this was said? What were you thinking when you heard this? Were you looking at anything? Were you truly sequestered? Did you really cut yourself off from the outside world for this long trial? I want to know, man. Tap in with me. Somebody get with me, man. If you are a juror, I want to interview Keith Adams. I want to interview Max Shard. I want to interview Miss D. Williams, who tried to pull out of the case because they wasn't paying her right. I want to interview Miss Westmoreland. I like a lot of the background people. You see what I'm saying? Like, Brian's still cool, but I wanted to interview the people behind him, all them people in the backdrop. You know what I'm saying? Mariah, the scientist. You understand? Because she been in court a lot, I think. I'm pretty sure I saw her in there at least once. I said a lot, but I saw her in the courtroom. So, you know, if you need somewhere to voice yourself, Miss Mariah, I'm in the city with you. You understand? I'm not one of these people that be on the internet that don't come outside. So I'll come to you, whatever it is. You know, I don't run from nothing. I'm a safe person, but I don't run from nothing. Shout out to toxic masculinity. I don't run from nothing. Shout out to toxic masculinity. But we out of here, man. Peace out.